Hi, I'm Dr. Courtney, Jesus Professor, and in this episode of Sex 101, we're explaining how pornography makes men into sexual predators. Legally and culturally, we define sexual predators as those who attempt sexual acts without complete consent, including with those unable to give full consent, and including the use of manipulation, power, or position to gain the appearance of consent. My spiritual definition includes that, but is slightly broader in that I include those who are taking a lot more than they are giving and carelessly leaving their prey significantly disadvantaged after the encounter. It is well established that the porn industry itself depends on predatory practices in the production of pornographic content. So men who consume porn are contributing to those predatory practices. Beyond this, a number of peer-reviewed studies show that men who consume porn are more likely to personally engage in predatory practices such as attempting non-consensual actions during encounters that may have begun consensually. Men are often hoping to reenact things that they have seen in porn, but without first gaining full consent from their partner, who may be less than comfortable being subject to these aggressive sex acts. Further, porn fuels lust in most men to the point where they are unable to control their sexual desire. This leads to all kinds of creepy behavior, including sending or soliciting nudes without regard for the age, relationship status, or receptiveness of their prey, making unwanted lewd comments and suggestions, attempting to lower the inhibitions of their prey through the use of alcohol, drugs, money, power, or position. Various forms of stalking. Jesus also made it clear that the use of pornography is a form of adultery when he said, "Anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart." Unfortunately, Christian institutions are filled with men who have become sexual predators through the use of pornography. As Scripture says, having eyes full of adultery, they never stop sinning. They seduce the unstable. They have hearts exercised with covetousness, an accursed brood. They promise their prey freedom while they themselves are slaves of depravity. For people are slaves to whatever has mastered them. For men in positions of Christian leadership, viewing porn makes them creepy. Women and other vulnerable people can often sense those eyes full of adultery. The widespread failures of Christian institutions to rebuke these men publicly and remove them from office, remove them from ministry, as Scripture instructs, has created a tacit permission for these predators to remain in ministry as long as the institutional perception of their negative impact would be greater by exposing and removing them than by leaving them in the appointed positions. So there's a bit of a greed motive in play oftentimes when the Christian institution leaves them in their position, because exposing and removing them would reduce giving. Yes, I am saying that many churches and Christian institutions are giving these predators, men in ministry with unrepentant porn habits or other ongoing sexual immorality, they're giving them refuge by refusing to expose and remove them as instructed in Scripture. When was the last time you saw or even heard of a church or a Christian institution exposing and removing a man from ministry for porn use? with various surveys estimating 50% or more of men in ministry habitually using porn, the fact that public exposure and removal is so rare is prima facie evidence that most churches and Christian institutions have become refuges for sexual predators.
If you see what I see, that the grave is empty, then you know what I know. Anything is possible. If you see what I see, that the grave